Friendship and greetings to you all. Well, the dog days of summer are now upon us, and for those who wondered or forgot, they're named for the rising of the star Sirius. Now, I know it's something that my good friend Fievel's aware of. He's a fountain of knowledge and is always there to lend a helping hand. Now, as much as you want to complain about them, enjoy them, because we would rather have a little bit of heat than that potential 6 months of winter that lay ahead. Now, remember, no matter how you feel, whether you're hot, cold, happy, sad, every week we devote some time to feeling kind and compassionate and sharing and caring. It's the nature of man. So let's welcome everyone we know as a community of like-minded, like-souled individuals in search of unification of spirit, the collective consciousness of seekers in a showing of faith, of love, a community, a chavura, a fellowship, expressing our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes that unites us all in this community house of spirit, Beth Ruach. So once again, please do go ahead and invite everybody you know, physically, psychically, emotionally, spiritually, to gather and share from Psalm 133. Hine Matov, come together. Hine Matov, Benai, Shevetari, Gam Yachad. Hine Matov, Benai, Shevetari, Gam Yachad. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community, 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 together. And as a community, my friends, let's all spread love, goodwill, and fellowship to the whole world. Remember, this is your sending out some of the goodwill we all generate. We all do generate it. And we send it out to the universe where it'll do the most good. We often do that during the Sabbath, that special time, that sacred time. Remember, the Sabbath is nothing more than a sacred coming together of sacred space and time. It gives you your opportunity, your chance to both praise and imitate God, creation, life itself, whatever. Let's also take a few minutes to invoke healing and renewal for everyone, everywhere. For everybody you know, and for the souls and spirits of everyone you know. Because not just for us, it's for the people that we used to know. So think of whoever that needs healing and renewal and love or just goodwill. You just want to elevate the souls of these people. Focus on them. Call their names. It's not just for people, it's for our pets. It's for the earth. It is the healing of the world, the tikkun olam. It's part of our spiritual genetic makeup. Friends, our perception of the world is a work in progress, which is why we're obliged to fix it by fixing ourselves. That's the real meaning of tikkun olam. As we fix ourselves, we fix the whole world. So for Snoopy, for Dave, for Kim and Ginny, for Ben, for Karen, and special healing for my friend Ryan's dear friend Haley Ham, for the dear sweet bee. And of course, renewal for all of you, because you need renewal too. Friends, it is the kindness, healing, wishes, goodwill, and love that we all send out that circles the world, finding those in need. So thank you, each and every one of you, for all you do, for all you care, because the world is a world of spirit. And spirit, my friends, never dies. Me, Shabbat, Avotenu, Makor HaBracha, Mimotenu, may the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage. Make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body. The renewal of spirit. Let us say, Amen. Misha Baruch, let us all have our spirits renewed. This is the great prayer for healing, my friends, in which we call upon God to heal as He has healed before. Misha Baruch, may He who blessed. Because healing is a blessing. So let's all heal as we pray for renewal and show gratitude for the wonders of our lives. Now, I know it's hard to believe, but we've reached the end of Numbers. And we do it with another double parsha. And I want to mention two things in the first parsha and one or two things from the second. And you will notice that things from 3,000 years ago are still issues in our lives today. Now, next week, we'll begin the Book of Words, perhaps the most unusual of all the 5 books of Moses. We'll talk about it then. But this week we say goodbye to the journeys as we read mattot, massei, tribes, travels. Now the journey's not over, but its record in the Torah stops here. And you'll notice that this parsha immediately makes mention of oaths. That's what I want to mention. Numbers 33. A man who will make a vow to the Lord, or has sworn an oath to make a restriction on himself, shall not desecrate his word. He shall do it according to everything that comes out of his mouth. Now we hear about a man making an oath, but the oaths that we immediately start reading about are really about a woman's oath, and when she, her father, or her husband are responsible for its upholding. Now you'll also no doubt notice it of course assumes that she's either married or lives with her family. Now, even though we just saw women get rights, we take a step back, and maybe a giant step, but at least it does acknowledge that she could be a widow or divorced and therefore her own person. But I don't want to dwell on when liability for an oath falls here or there. I want to talk about the idea of an oath itself as it's mentioned again. Now you should understand, oaths were different in biblical times. A vow or oath, it's an oral promise to which a person voluntarily obligates himself, and they would not do it unless they were going to uphold it. Vows and oaths have not disappeared from the world. They're just different. Now, if someone enters the priesthood, he takes certain vows. If a person becomes a monk or a nun, he or she takes the vows of the order. When a man and woman get married, they exchange vows. Vows are like extra solemn promises for which we expect God to hold us accountable. Numbers 32. If a man makes a vow to the Lord, or takes an oath to bind himself with a binding obligation, he shall not violate his word. He shall do according to all that proceeds out of his mouth. Now, I know what you're thinking. What about Kol Nidre and Yom Kippur? We'll talk about that later. See, in Hebrew, a vow is neder, hence Kol Nidre. It's a type of oath by which a person binds himself or herself to perform a certain act or refrain from a certain thing. A vow is understood as a promise, an obligation, or a prohibition that a person declares upon himself or herself. Now, the Nazarite from Nazir vow of number 6, which we talked about a few weeks ago, it's a great example of a biblical vow, a very special kind of vow. Now, oaths are like vows. They're almost interchangeable. When a politician begins his term, he takes an oath of office. Before testifying in a court of law, witnesses are required to take an oath to tell the truth, sometimes by swearing on a Bible or other holy book. An oath, shuvuah, can be any statement, formal, declaration, promise that a person swears that they will uphold. Now, in ancient times, in all cultures, oaths were taken in the name of the gods. The idea was that if the person taking the oath proved false, the gods would deal with him. Now, the Bible warns us not to take oaths in the name of other gods. So instead, if someone must take a vow or an oath, he should fear only the Lord and swear by his name. It says that in Numbers 5:21. Now, when a person in the days of the Bible wanted to make a vow or oath, he would say something like, may the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, if I do not do such and such. Or maybe he'd say something like, as the Lord lives, I will do such and such. But he's swearing that, before God, he will do what he says. Your words had a weight, a gravitas to them. Your speech could not be false, nor empty. It had to be fulfilled by deed. But what we had to know was that taking an oath or a vow in the name of God, it's also a risky business. In Leviticus 19, the Lord warns us not to swear falsely by my name so as to profane the name of your God. Now that's part of the meaning of that third commandment, you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. People think it's swearing. It's more about lying on an oath. If a person does take a vow or oath, he has to make every possible effort to keep his word. Not only that, but a person should treat everything that comes out of his mouth as if it were a solemn vow. The Torah says, Numbers 32, he shall do according to all that proceeds out of his mouth. And that's because we must be careful about everything we say, not just vows and oaths, but we must remember our oaths, our promises, our vows. They have a weight to them. They are substantial. They are real, or at least once they were. Well, my friends, they still are. Think about what you're doing the next time you take a vow or an oath. They're not just words. Now, I also said last week, I'd come back to the Midianites. So the second thing has to do with them that I want to talk about. Numbers 31:3. And Moses spoke to the people saying, let people from you be equipped for the army. So they'll be against Midian to put God's revenge in Midian. Now, there's going to be a war with Midian on behalf of God who wants revenge. We're not told why. And it's not really how we think of God. We don't think of God wanting revenge. Revenge is a very human thing, and not a very nice human thing. Numbers 31:7. And they made war on Midian as the Lord had commanded Moses, and they killed every male. Wow. They killed every male. They even killed the Balaam, a prophet who faithfully pronounces the Lord's words, who blesses Israel, and thereby offends the Moabite king who hires him. Why is he killed? Well, you know what, friends? We're never told. The text only lets us know that human motives are complex. They were then, they still are. It is a book of answers, but some answers take thought and effect at all times. Our motives are still complex, perhaps even more so now than then. And the children of Israel took the women of Midian and their infants prisoner, and they despoiled all their animals and all their livestock and all their wealth. Well, does this seem right? This seems mean. It seems bloodthirsty. It seems cruel. Numbers 31:14. Moses was angry at the officers of the army, the chiefs of thousands and the chiefs of hundreds who were coming from the army of the war. And Moses said to them, "Did you keep every female alive? So now kill every male among the infants, and kill every woman who has known a man for male intercourse." If Moses' anger over the fact they've not killed the women and children is difficult to accept, how much more amazing is the fact that the women in question are Midianite, like Moses' wife, Zipporah. You know, we look for reasons to justify, but this does not seem like us. Moses must order a war against his wife's people with whom he once lived, whose priest was his father-in-law and advisor, and it doesn't tell us anything about it. He married a Midianite woman, but now he has all the other married Midianite women killed. Now, the lack of any comment about Moses' thoughts and feelings here is one of the most powerful silences in the Torah since the story of the near sacrifice of Isaac, in which we are told nothing of Abraham's heart. The Torah's way is to leave these things unspoken, and thus to leave us to ponder them. There's battle lines being drawn. Nobody's right if everybody's wrong. Young people speaking their minds, getting so much resistance from behind. It's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. What is this war all about? There's like something missing. We haven't been told everything. Now, the last parsha of Numbers, or Bamidbar, in the wilderness, it's a beautiful finish to the journey. The people are camped on the edge of the promised land. They never attain it in the Torah. It is always a promise just out of reach. Oh, it's just over there. How many of us see our promised land just out of reach? What do we have to do to get there? Friends, this parsha of the travels, it begins with a listing of the travels for the past 40 years, and it's a nice summary, step by step. Geographers and map followers love that kind of thing. It makes the Bible live for them. And it culminates on God telling us the boundaries for the new land, which of course have been in dispute pretty well ever since. What you want to notice is not where you were, but what's left out. The central stop at Mount Sinai, where they camped for a year and got all the information, it's not actually mentioned. Only a stay in the wilderness of Sinai, and not a mention of the voice of God, or the covenant, or the miracles. Now, granted, it's just a list of places, but you might think that the great epiphany that we still talk about all being at deserved honorable mention after all that travel. Many a mile to freedom, many a smile to tell. Ask my bluebird to sing you from the heart of a wishing well. If you should ask me to give you the reason for life that we know, that together we flow like the river, together we melt like the snow. All those miles. And after the list of land, distribution of the cities is announced. Like they just camp there and all these announcements are made. And a very interesting concept is brought forth. The original idea of the sanctuary city is going to be talked about, further in other parts of the Bible. Numbers 35:6. And the cities that you shall give to the Levites, 6 cities of refuge that you shall give for the manslayer to flee there. The idea of a refuge. Now, in Hebrew, manslayer and murderer are 2 different things, but translated with the exact same word. We determine which is which because they're different in each sentence by the context of the sentence. So in English, we have 2 words available, and the appropriate word is used in each case. Here you have to pay more attention to what the paragraph says. So what are these places? They're not like the ones we read about or hear about in the U.S. these days. Numbers 35:11. You shall establish cities, they shall be cities of refuge for you. And a manslayer who strikes a life by mistake shall flee there. And you shall have the cities of refuge from an avenger, so the manslayer will not die until he stands in front of the congregation for judgment. These 6 cities shall be for refuge for the children of Israel and for the alien and for the visitor among them, for anyone who strikes a life by mistake to flee there. But if he struck him with an iron item so that he died, he is a murderer. The murderer shall be put to death. Now notice it's all built on intent. The Kavanaugh, it is the determining factor. And it's measured partly through the tool. If you strike someone with iron, it's no accident if the person dies. So the sanctuary city is not for you. It's for when the accidental death occurs. You didn't mean to kill the person. Manslaughter versus murder. Neither are good. But murder has an intent to it that poisons. And we're reminded about that because we're reminded everything is alive, everything's connected. Right? Numbers 35:33. So you shall not pollute the land in which you are, because blood, it will pollute the land. Now we were first told that way back with Cain and Abel. The earth's environment suffers from human wrongdoing. We are connected, and we're connected to the earth. The ground is cursed on your account. You're cursed from the ground that opened its mouth to take your brother's blood. Friends, human violence and corruption have consequences not only for the immediate victims, not even only for other humans, but for the condition of the earth and nature. We are all one. Murder is not only a sin against the victim, it is a sin against the earth. We're suddenly left now with this great sense of incompleteness. Here we are, we're in the fields of Moab on the banks of the Jordan. Numbers do not have the same kind of wrap-up as Genesis and Exodus. The episodes of the journey described in the book of Numbers are much more closely related to one another than those in the Epic of Gilgamesh or the Odyssey, which deal with a broader journey. I have climbed the highest mountains. I have run through the fields, only to be with you. Only to be with you. I have run, I have crawled, I have scaled these city walls, only to be with you. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. We're at the end of Numbers, but the story begins with the preparation and complaints and the angering of God. The people complain to Moses. They address him, not God. They focus on the human leader. They're provided for every step of the way. But their slave mentality keeps them fearful and ungrateful. We all know people who still hold on to both of those things. The journey is transformed horribly for the Exodus generation, from a short trip to a promised land into a lengthy movement with no end until death. They are undeserving of bondage and they're unequipped for freedom. But these are the only two known conditions in their world. This dilemma leaves them in an interim state on a journey without a destination. On the first part of the journey, I was looking at all of life. There were plants and birds, rocks and things. There was sand and hills and rings. The first thing I met was a fly with a buzz in the sky with no clouds. Heat was hot and the ground was dry, but the air was full of sound. I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain. La 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 la. If you do not know where you are going, how do you know when you get there? Friends, do you know where you're going? Yes, my friends, the world is sacred. So is everything in it. Express your gratitude. Light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them, with all of them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom, be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light and all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone. And end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together, we celebrate each other, we love each other. We share this right together, men and women equally. So let's send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all who need it. And please do learn to forgive, learn to love, including yourself. Open your hearts. Honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. Take advantage of the time you have. And enjoy that journey, because we take the twists and turns and the patterns that weave through the fabric of our lives in our effort to grow, to learn, to be, to love. So please do love. Now bless you all. Have a fantastic week, a week of love and light, a week of peace, a week of miracles. Examine your intentions and use them to imprint your will on the universe, because we set in motion everything that happens in our lives. Our intention, as we saw, our Kavana, our cause, our effect, everything is linked. As I said, you always have time to forgive and to be forgiven. You have the knowledge of what's good and bad. So acknowledge what you've done wrong to yourself, to God, and to any person you've wronged, and ask forgiveness. But do so with sincerity, accountability, and vulnerability. Forgive those who've hurt you as you learn to be forgiving and compassionate, because the secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace is in acceptance. Can you accept yourself, other people in the world, just as they are? Can you accept life just as it is without trying to control it? If you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. So do not stop your journey. Keep on dreaming. Keep on being. Keep sharing. Keep shining. Keep teaching. Keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear. Follow love, because it's always in front of you. And remember to have faith and unwavering adherence to principle. Just as I have faith in the principle of love and all of you, act with purity of heart and mind. Despise none, defraud none, hate none. Cherish all. Honor every child of God, every creature of the earth. May all people know peace in this year. May you nurture kindness and love everywhere. Work to be present in the body. Expand the heart, quiet the mind, because the deepest source of real power lies in consciousness and the ability to be mindful, to be aware, to be present in all life circumstances. Make the most of your time in this life and continue to touch and transform lives around you, because you're never alone, my friends. You are forever blessed and have the ability to bring blessings to everybody you meet. Health, love, and renewal to everybody you come across, because we're all energy. Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed. Your words are your power to transform, to love, to bless. So be generous. Bless others. Bless yourself. Love with the heart. We're all part of a greater whole. Embrace love, not fear. Forgiveness, not anger. Be there for someone, because someone will always be there for you, whether you know it or not. And continue to explore faith and belief, and do not accept shame as a natural state. Whatever you feel others have felt, whatever you've experienced, others have too. We share together. We learn together. We help each other, each of us, trying to find love and acceptance and support. We all have or could have that special someone in our lives, so find them and tell them what they mean. Remember, you're never alone on your journey to your promised land, my friends. You are being watched and you are being helped. So always be kind. Keep forgiving those you need to forgive, and keep asking forgiveness from those you need to ask forgiveness of. Do not get caught in fear. Forgiveness comes from acceptance, and acceptance brings peace, and peace can last for a lifetime. So enjoy the week. Continue to imprint your will upon the universe. Remember, friends, we are on a journey together. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. Who cares about the clouds if we're together? Just sing a song and bring the sunny weather. Happy trails to you till we meet again. We are all on the road together. Shabbat shalom and blessings to you all. Take care, my friends. I will see you next week.